to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will everyone please remain standing while we ask Reverend George Wilson to come give us a prayer?
Let us pray. Father God, we come right now no other way but from heart to heart, leaning on your everlasting love, realizing, Father, that we are conducting and moving city forward, Father. So we ask you to keep your everlasting love around us. Bless the mayor and the council and all of the administrative party, Father, and bless most of all the citizens of the city of Inkster. And Father, we'll forever give you the praises. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen and thank God.
Amen.
Roll call.
Mayor Nolan,
Present.
Councilwoman Watley, present. Councilman Oden,
Present.
Councilwoman Mitchell,
Present.
Councilwoman Howard,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Williams,
Present.
and Councilman Chisholm.
Present.
And we do have a quorum tonight.
All right, great. Everybody had a chance to look at the agenda? We're going to eliminate items A, items E. Is that it? Just those two?
And table item G.
And table item G. Well, we need a motion at that
You're
point.
good, yeah.
Items A and
Yep. A and E, taken off the agenda. Anything else we need to add?
we table them which one?
Table
G.
G.
New item G.
Yeah.
We need to add closed session? No, we didn't make any.
No, we didn't vote on it. All right. Everybody had a chance to look at it? Do we have a motion?
Move that we adopt the agenda with the necessary changes.
Support. Been properly moved and supported. Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. It passes. Okay. Before we go to the presentations, I see Preston Peterson is here. We have an update from Mr. Joel Jones. Come on, you can do it. Come on.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members, and citizens of Inkster. Bring you greetings from State Representative Joel Jones, who's in Boston, at a conference for state legislators. I just had a couple of points. One, I want to encourage people to get out and vote. I think it's a very important election tomorrow. Your interests are involved, so I would encourage all the citizens of Inkster to get out and express their will. The other thing I wanted to mention is, and I pointed this out at the last council session. We're having a town hall August 29th at the rec center to talk about job opportunities and business service opportunities for local residents. I want to encourage everybody who's interested in either upgrading their current job, finding a new job, getting training, starting a business. If you've got an existing business, getting some support for that, because we're going to have some experts out from the state and private industry to help you to work through a lot of the issues that small businesses struggle with. We're going to have people from the Michigan Economic Development Corporation, from SIMCA, the Michigan Works folks, and a private consultant. So I would encourage those who are interested to please come out. It's at 6 o'clock. The Booker T. Dozier Recreation Center, right here in Inkster.
Okay, thank you. Wayne County Commissioner Glenn Anderson.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. I appreciate having the opportunity to come before you tonight. I guess I got to say that one thing that I hope I don't steal anyone's thunder about it, that it was a great picnic this past Friday that the Commission on Aging put together, and just the enthusiasm and the spirit of everyone. And I know, Mayor, you were there, and a couple of council members were there too, and it was really just made me feel good all the whole weekend, to see everybody in such a great mood and having a good time. In front of you, I put on your tables, on the council table, a little bit of background information, quite lengthy sort of, how long we've been trying to get something done for the city of Inkster. It's going to also benefit the cities of Garden City and Dearborn Heights, and it's the background information with all the emails. I believe all of them are in here, and we tried to letter them in chronological order a bit so you can see how long this has been going back and forth in trying to get a left turn light at Cherry Hill and Inkster Road. And I'm here tonight to let everyone know that we now have a commitment out of the executive's office, county executive's office, that a left turn light will be installed for all directions at Cherry Hill and Inkster Road. And I give you this packet so you can see, everybody can see the emails back and forth, the letters that were sent, and I want to thank this council for passing a resolution in support of what I was trying to do at the county level for this community. And two of my communities. It benefits both of two of my three communities that I represent, and it's very, very good thing for the motorists going through that intersection, and hopefully it'll reduce the number of accidents. I have no commitment as far as the time exactly when it'll be done, but I was told as soon as the equipment comes in, weather permitting, that it will be installed and that intersection will be upgraded with left turn lights all the way on all directions. A few other updates I wanted to mention is the Commission is currently reviewing the 2017-18 county budget as submitted by the county executive. It'll be a series of meetings on the budget that'll go through probably through mid-September, and they'll have to be approved. Our budget year, of course, is October 1 till September 30th of the next year. So, but the budget has to be approved before the 1st of October, usually about the second or third week of September. We also have an offer from Dearborn Heights to purchase the Warren Valley Golf Course property. That'll be taken up this week by the County Commission in a meeting of the whole, and that'll be on Wednesday. I'm not sure if we'll be voting on it on Thursday. It'll more likely be a meeting down the road. But this is to explore that offer that the city of Dearborn Heights is making on the property. Wayne County is currently reviewing plans for the Eloise property, which everyone knows is getting to be a bit of an eyesore, and it is on the between Westland, or in Westland, but near the border of Inkster also. And I verified that an offer and a proposed project has been received, but the commission hasn't received the details yet as far as individual commissioners. And like I said, we'll probably, in this one also, next 2 to 3 weeks, we'll probably take it up for consideration. As everyone heard last week, the county executive has decided to negotiate a deal with Rock Ventures for a new justice center, which will include a new jail, a new juvenile detention center, and a new court. There are a number of big details that could derail the project or this proposal, but I think the exec is pretty sure that they'll be able to work those out. So, but there's some, like I said, 3 big things that have to fall in place. But they have indicated in a meeting with all the members of the commission that a contract proposal should be to the commission by late September for consideration. It'll also take a couple of weeks after that for our people to look it over too, and make a recommendation to us and point out what we need to be watching for or need to require additional negotiations. And just the other things, coffee hours will start up September 11th. On Monday of September 11th, and it'll be at the library, the same place as always. And the e-newsletter that I publish bi-monthly will probably come out in about a week. Anyone wishing to receive the e-news or just email our office, my office, and to District 12 at waynecounty.com, and they can get on the list. But I think the big news tonight is that I think perseverance on all of our part made a difference, and we should see that light up, I'd say no later than spring of next year. Okay?
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Next, we'll have our presentations. First presenter.
Mr. Mayor.
Who we lose? Oh, we good? Same office. Next, we have presentations. In June, I think it was the end of June, I took a trip to Denver and I wanted to go look at the medical marijuana industry up close and personal, see it for myself, look at the impact that it had on the cities and the communities out there, so we can come back home and share that information. The next presenter is Trent Wolovec and Michael Schatz. He was nice enough to cart me around the whole day, took me to several different facilities, discussed the business, the impact on the community, the science behind it, which I really appreciated. And now we asked him to come here, and he was gracious enough to fly into Michigan and to give some information to our community, so we'll just be more informed about what's happening in the state of Michigan. Trent?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you all, council members and the citizens of Inkster for being gracious enough to have me in and be able to talk about medical cannabis. If you would have asked me 3-4 years ago if this was ever going to be happening, I would probably say not a chance. But as we've continued to learn and grow around what the plant is able to do, not only for the individuals that choose to use it, but also for the communities as far as jobs, as far as tax creation. It's gone a long way, and I think you guys, I want to commend on being able to be on the forefront of that, representing what is going to be possible, not only for your city, but be role models here in the state of Michigan, and then being and looked at from a national level as well. And so, with that being said, I'd like to give you a little bit of background. It looks like you have the pamphlet in front of you, the presentations around kind of our business that we've created both in Colorado, and then the model that we're looking to progress throughout not only the United States but internationally as well. So we are a vertically integrated business. What that means is we actually cultivate, we then do transportation, security. We also manufacture, so create products, not just from the plant itself, but extracting the plant, and then doing full retail stores as well. That is all done in Colorado, has to stay within Colorado. We operate approximately 300,000 square feet of indoor cultivation, and then we also have 25 acres of outdoor cultivation as well in South Colorado. We have approximately 22,000 square feet of manufacturing facilities, so this is where we extract the plant, extract the cannabinoids and the terpenes. A lot more science and quantitative data is being looked at almost on a daily basis now as we continue to learn more about the plant. I know some presenters that are going to be talking later are going to be integral in continuing that evolution of the industry and really looking at it from a science-based perspective, as well as being able to really look at and show the true magic behind the plant. We also have currently 12 retail stores throughout the greater Denver area and in Colorado as a whole, and we'll be expanding to 17 by the end of the year. So what does that mean for the community? We've created over 750 jobs in Denver, our company alone. There's 10,000 jobs that are related to the cannabis industry in Colorado. That's strictly within the industry itself. There's about 40,000 what we call ancillary jobs that have been created, and over $100 million has been collected from state tax, and all of that has gone back to schools and infrastructure, being able to really continue to continue to progress Colorado as a whole. We actually have the lowest unemployment rate in the U.S. Colorado does. That's with oil being one of the other larger industries that's obviously not been doing too well lately. So what we've been able to create in Colorado, and my company has been able to create as the Green Solution, we're excited to be approved by the Federal Trade Commission to be able to actually have franchises, just like a McDonald's would or just like a Chick-fil-A would, and be able to bring that knowledge, that base of understanding around medical cannabis and making sure it's done and implemented correctly, not only for the city, but for the state, and then nationally as well, as we continue to learn and progress what this industry is going to do for not only the state of Michigan, but the people of Inkster as well. So really, my purpose of being here this evening is to help educate and answer any questions that yourselves or the citizens of Inkster may have. So with that being said, I'll open it up to questions, comments, concerns, and I'd be more than happy to answer anything that you guys have. The last thing I will say and point out is, in closing, many of you, I'm sure, have been able to have an experience as, you know, the opiate epidemic has continued to run rampant across the United States. Medical cannabis has been proven to have about a reduction in 25% of those overdoses. So I think it's very important as viewing medical cannabis not as an issue or a stigma, but rather as a solution as well in that continued battle with that crisis that's currently going on in this country.
Okay, thank you. Anybody up here at council, any particular questions? No, we're good?
Yeah, I understand that in Colorado, it's legal by the state.
Speaking to the microphone.
In Colorado, medical marijuana is legal by the state. How about the federal government? Have they legalized it for Colorado?
Nope. So the state has laid out our program. At the federal level, there's what's called the Cole Memorandum. And as long as you follow those kind of 8 points, the federal government has no funds. There's a procreation bill that's passed at the federal level that does not allow them to provide funds for businesses that are operating under the Cole Memorandum, and then the state that actually is enforcing those 8 kind of outlined points within that memo. So at the federal level, it is still a Schedule I narcotic. It is still federally illegal. However, we as the industry kind of self-police and want to be able to create and continue to build on the positive momentum that's been created not only in Colorado, but the 28 other states that have passed some sort of medical cannabis program and continue to show that the plant is something that we can view as again, a solution rather than a problem.
How do you regulate the recreational use?
So as far as adult use goes, that is handled actually much more strict than the medical. So we have full third-party independent lab testing to show what's in the product. Continued education, and it's actually overseen by the Marijuana Enforcement Division, both for adult use and medical. So very, very much similar to the medical. Our medical program, we continue to see patients look to cannabis as a continued way to relieve their suffering, and I think it's very important to have both adult use and but look at medical as a way to progress towards that if you so choose.
Anybody else up here?
I just have a question. There was an article in yesterday's Detroit Free Press, and of course they're always opponent
Sure.
to things of that nature. But they were saying that one of the solutions that you speak of is that it cuts down on the illegal use. And they were saying that really has not happened in Colorado. They still have their black market.
So that's somewhat true, but not all the way true. When the medical program was put into place back in 2010 in the state of Colorado, and then adult use in 2014, we had a program that was in place since 2002 with the caregivers. And so what we've actually seen is that the caregivers continue to skirt the rules, if you will, and actually provide a gray market. Back in 2014, we saw anywhere between 50 to 60% of the market be serviced by the caregivers and or the black market, what we call the gray or the black market. That number is still around 50 or 60% in the state of Washington, in the state of Oregon. However, most recently, it's actually been cut down in Colorado to about 20% of the market share. So as we continue to see progression in the industry, rules aligning with individuals, pricing and the supply come to meet where the demand is, we see that reduction in the black market. You can't just make that go away overnight. It's an ongoing learning process. And so, yes, in Colorado, a small majority is still serviced by the black market, but we continue to work with not only the legislators and the regulators, but the individuals at in the fire department, the police department, continue to help educate them and put them in the right position to identify the bad actors. And because of the regulated system and because of all of the rules, the seed to sale tracking, so on and so forth, we're able to better identify those bad actors and bring them to the light as far as either shutting them down and or putting them into the behind bars where they should be.
Well, this whole article was urging not, countrywide legalization, and a bill was being introduced by Cory Booker.
Correct.
Are you
Senator.
familiar? Are you familiar with the bill he's
Yes, ma'am.
introducing?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you just elaborate just a little on it?
Sure. So his proposed bill is around full adult use legalization in the country. I think that is something that is very aspirational at this time. I do think, eventually as we continue to see progress made by states like Michigan, like Colorado, like California, like Washington, it's going to be a continued conversation. I think there's a lot going on in Washington, D.C. around healthcare, around immigration, around tax, that it's not really going to be something that's going to be pushed forward and pushed forward fast. However, I do know that it's a $50 to $60 billion industry, and people are going to capitalize on the market, whether it's above board or not above board. So it is my belief that why not create jobs, good paying jobs for good people that are going to allow economic impact for that individual, for the community, and then also collect taxes in order to drive economic stimulus at the local level, at the state level, and then at a national level as well. So yes, I do believe that that's a conversation that needs to be had at the national level because it's doing so much good for the communities in Colorado that I know of. We're also in Florida, in Illinois, in Nevada, in Oregon, and in Canada, where they do have federal, both medical cannabis as well as adult use, July 1 of next year. And we've seen all of that really drive people from the black market to into a regulated market that's really done a lot of good for, not only the communities itself, but for the people that have decided to come into the industry as well. You're welcome.
Anybody else up here? Sure.
Having coming from an area where this industry is already far more progressed than in Michigan, can you think of any examples where the businesses who are participating in this industry has helped provide or produce growth in the municipalities? And I give an example of what I'm talking about. The Pistons are moving from Auburn Hills back to Detroit. One of the things they have committed to the community is to renovate a number of parks. You know, I'm sure Inkster could benefit from donations from like a rec center, had industries moving in, providing those type of foundational and economic support to the municipalities. Have you seen that happen in Colorado?
Yeah, absolutely. So a great example is our first store we ever opened is in a community where the four brothers and myself, who are the partners, they all grew up in that community. All of the tax dollars that were collected from our store there were one of now 2 stores in the area, but that went towards actually building a new recreational center in that city. So yes, we've seen not only dollars spent from just tax revenue for the local municipality, but businesses also stepping up to be able to provide additional support for the community. Another great example is in Sauget, Illinois, which is right on the other side of St. Louis, where we have a store. They built a whole business park around us being one of the tenants right next to their actual baseball stadium as well. And so I think just the social acceptance and really breaking the stigma around medical cannabis also goes a long way in having open dialogue within the city, the municipality, between council members, city council members, and police, fire, and the citizens to really kind of look at and really understand what can be done and done better in the community as well.
Okay, we're going to open this up to people in the audience. We don't want to be here all night, so if you have an important question regarding the business, please ask it. We'll have another presenter who's talking more about the medical aspect of it if you have those type of questions. Ms. Owens.
Yes. What processes do you use to contain the odor of processing it? And are there any complaints from adjacent neighbors with the odor of processing and growing?
We got a microphone.
Yeah, perfect. I don't know if you want to see my dancing, nor my singing. But as far as odor goes, really the process of cultivating the plant is when you're going to have a lot of the odor. And the impact when it gets to the manufacturing and into the retail setting, there's not going to be any smell or excess odor. So really around cultivation, Denver is a great example of this. They just implemented new odor controls, and so that onus is placed on the cultivators. And so working with the fire department and the police department, we're able to, yes, mitigate and have certain controls, processes, procedures in place to mitigate the smell. And if you do receive a complaint and it is valid, there is a fine associated to it. And so yes, I would recommend that that same kind of program is put in place to ensure that the citizens aren't really having to deal with that situation. So the goal is obviously to have these cultivation facilities not near residential areas and zoned properly so that it's not affecting the citizens with the burden of the odor of cannabis.
Could you elaborate on your answer that you gave the attorney? Did I understand you correctly in saying that in lieu of the taxes being paid to the city, you built the recreation center, or the taxes paid to the city and the commitment was the recreation center?
Correct. We paid taxes to the city, and the city was able to determine that through the tax dollars and some additional private commitment, they were going to build a rec center.
Okay, then other than the taxes you would pay anywhere?
Jobs being one, I think one major thing as well. Unfortunately, I think as it stands right now, it still is a small business. It's still a nascent industry. And so I think as we continue to grow and hopefully become an entity as powerful as the Pistons, I think you'll see us continue to support the local communities that we're in. However, I don't foresee this business being able to provide additional support. However, yes, it is something that's on our radar, and as good citizens, good operators, we do continue to kind of build those relationships to hopefully one day be able to make those same type of commitments. That's a great question, and that is a state-by-state determination as far as the retrospective go. I know Senator Cory Gardner's bill, if it would be retrospective, and so yes, all of the people that were put into or incarcerated would be released. So that's something I think you can work with, the local, your local city council members, mayor, to really get at the state level as well. I'm sure I'll talk with a couple people that I know here that would have specifics around what they're looking at the state. But as far as going forward, when you do receive your medical card, that'll allow you a specific amount of possession, and as long as you carry in Colorado that no more than that specific amount of product, then you're good to go. Also, you need to maintain that in an opaque child-resistant exit pouch container. That way, it's not getting into the wrong hands. But yes, as long as you're able to present the proper identification that you're allowed to have it, then no, you shouldn't be in any danger of being arrested for having medical cannabis. Having is okay. Using is not okay. So when consuming cannabis, that should always be it should be in your private residence or under the supervision of somebody, not in public.
Okay, well, thank you, Trent. We're going to wrap this up and get on to the next presenter. I appreciate you coming.
Thank you.
If he sticks around, you can grab him if you have any other questions. Next, we're going to have Dr. Stephen Goldner from Regulatory Affairs Associates. He's going to take the place of the item B presenter, Gulfstream Gardens. And he's going to talk a little bit about the medical side of the industry.
Good evening, Mayor and council persons.
Good evening.
Thank you for the opportunity to be here. So my colleague just spoke about different parts of this medical cannabis business. And I'm here to tell you more about truly the medicine and the science. It'll be a little bit easier if I tell you about my background so you understand really what my knowledge is. I come from the regulatory, science, and law enforcement part of it. I started as a forensic toxicologist at the New York Medical Examiner. And in the course of doing 18,000 autopsies and supervising those, so I really do know how that works. I developed the laboratory methods that allow us to detect LSD, marijuana, cocaine, amphetamines, and barbiturates. None of that could have been done before that, and that started an industry called urine screening for pre-employment back in 1970, and I opened the first laboratory to do that in Hapog, Long Island. and that industry has gone worldwide and provides lots of very, very good jobs and has brought a lot of certainty to the industry and when are people under the influence of those sort of drugs. The next year, I formulated a drug called methadone, raised the money, got it approved at FDA, and ran the company for a couple of years. And that was the first oral narcotic drug that was approved for use. It's used really as a pain relief drug, but it also is used very frequently to get people off of heroin. So I've been involved in this opioid difficulty, this opioid plague, for over 40 years now, in terms of making the medicines to solve it. And my companies did pretty well. I sold off those two companies to a large distribution branding company called Unilever. They paid for me to go to law school, so I became an FDA attorney. And I've combined being an FDA attorney in the pharmaceutical and medical device area along with science. For the last 20 years, I've been here in Michigan. I have this Regulatory Affairs Associates Consulting Company. We have about 45 employees. Actually, my senior vice president lives here in Inkster. We've gotten about 300 medical devices and drugs approved in the United States and around the world. It's saved millions and millions of lives. It actually created over 200 companies. 40 of them are here in Michigan, and they collectively employ about 10,000 people right now. So that's my background in terms of science and law. I became involved in the cannabis space because I'm the FDA advisor to the National Institutes of Health. And we had a meeting one day, and FDA said they'd like to have a laboratory come up with a method to detect cannabis. And NIH wanted a method to be able to detect cannabis in blood and urine so they could run clinical trials. So I set up that laboratory in Troy, and it is the only FDA-level laboratory in the United States to be able to detect and quantitate all of the components of cannabis, including all of the impurities. And from that, I've developed formulations to be able to resolve people who are addicted to opioids using specific ingredients in cannabis, to be able to create sleep aid products, to be able to provide the drugs for children who are suffering from dreadful diseases. And I'm in the process of working with a number of people, including here for this municipality, to be able to set up our corporate headquarters. So our mission right now is to find a suitable location to set up our USA, North American world headquarters. I'd really like to do it here in Michigan, and you look like nice people. And from that, we are going to expand across the United States. I also own a clinical trials company, so we're running a number of clinical trials with these products. And I'm really here to answer any medical or scientific questions. I just wanted you to know what my background was, and we are here to help you, if there's any at all.
Any questions up here? Okay, we'll go right to the audience. I saw a hand somewhere. Where we go? Anything? Yes, sir.
What's the safest method of consumption of cannabis?
So the safest method of consumption of cannabis is, of course, the methods that I've developed. That's really great. I owe him $5. So what I did was I developed what are called sublingual tablets. They're like nitroglycerin tablets, and you put them under your tongue, and they dissolve in about 15 seconds or so. And so the effects are felt in about 5 or 6 minutes, and they last for 3.5 hours or so. And they don't have to get a person stoned. We don't have to put THC in it. CBD and all of the CBG and CBS are all fabulous compounds that actually help people. Lots and lots of research has been done on it. Not that much in America yet, but elsewhere. So our ability is to be able to extract pure ingredients from cannabis, turn it into medicines, and then be able to distribute it uniformly, reliably, consistently within the state of Michigan over and over again. Thank you. Yes, sir.
I've got a couple of questions.
Uh-oh.
Oh. Yes, sir.
What is THC?
That's a great, yes? So THC is a molecule composed primarily of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. There's a little bit of nitrogen in there. This is a compound that exists in the cannabis plant. It's just one of 1,000 compounds that are within the cannabis plant. So THC is not addictive. Cannabis is not addictive. I really know that because I developed a drug called methadone that really is addictive. So the real virtue of THC is that it is a pain reduction. Probably everybody in here has taken something for pain. If it was just aspirin or something much more potent. Every one of those is a particular molecule. THC by itself is actually not addictive. But I agree there are times when you're really in pain. Really. And if you have ever been in deep, unremitting bone pain, you just want relief. And if it continues day after day after day, the idea of relieving the pain is something that you want. However, THC is not addictive as opposed to heroin, morphine, codeine, cocaine. Those actually are molecules that the body begins to crave. The body does not crave THC. Hope that helps.
And why are you referring to marijuana as you used the other day?
Cannabis?
Yeah, why are you using that instead of marijuana?
I actually like cannabis more than marijuana. That's really why. You can use it any way you want. There's lots of other nicknames for this plant, that's for sure. Everybody here has probably heard lots of them. I think that part of it is for using cannabis is for many, many decades, this drug, this phenomenal pain relief compound has been denigrated and not been allowed to be used by people. And so people had to use it, and our fabulous law enforcement people had to respond the way the laws were written. And that's created a lot of difficulties. I'm hoping by using the word cannabis that it will help stop that, and people will think about it differently. That's why I use it.
I have one question with what you're saying, especially with your experience with methadone and the things you've created. Do you have any data on what's going to happen to the children that are in the homes where it's free to smoke, especially developing infants and toddlers?
Yeah. So certainly secondhand smoke of anything is not good for children to develop in. And certainly living in an environment that is not healthy is bad for children. Cannabis by itself, or marijuana, doesn't harm children. It just doesn't. There are actually really, really good studies. Now, it may be that the family is in a bad socioeconomic situation, and the children are being not taken care of properly. It's not because of the drug. It's because of the condition. And I'm hoping, just like So let me tell you what really happened with methadone. Apparently not, because of the battery. So in New York, there were 200,000 heroin addicts. We managed to move 10% of them onto methadone. That was about 20,000 people in the city of New York in 71 of last century. Every one of those people needed to rob or steal in order to get their drug. That's not what happens with marijuana. So what we did by legalizing that drug, methadone, was we eliminated 20,000 robberies a night. That was really a good idea in that city. We eliminated thousands of people being injured, ambulance rides, overflowing emergency rooms, night courts. A lot of the police were able to be reoriented towards more effective utilization of it just because of legalizing that drug in that one way. It's a phenomenal sociologic. Yeah, I had to charge the city a few bucks for every tablet, but they more than made the money back. So that's part of what this idea is. And to answer your question, it's always dreadful when children are affected by anything, and we all work to. And so I think that's just something that's going to have to be seen as this goes forward. I hope that answers.
Okay, Dawn, this is going to be the last question.
You keep referring to cannabis as a pain reliever. I think we've probably all seen the videos of the oil being put on Parkinson's patients' tongue and they stop seizing or tremors cease. Do you foresee any components, or are there any components that you know of already that will eliminate cancer or other diseases like that where it can be treated? Cannabis can treat those diseases.
Yeah, so last week, 2 weeks ago, I made a formulation to help people who are addicted to alcohol, simply because somebody asked me to do it. And so part of these compounds that they are an anti-oncology compound. But the studies to prove that are very long-term studies. Frankly, they are very expensive. I get money from drug companies to use it. I know what it is. I bill them for it. So it's pretty clear that these compounds so far in animals actually do reverse the course of some cancers. And we'll have to see what happens in people are not lab animals.
Well, thank you, Doctor. I appreciate you coming.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, everyone. Our last presentation is going to be a proclamation for Camp Inspire by me.
I'll read it from here. This is a proclamation honoring Camp Inspire. Whereas Camp Inspire strives to inspire 4th through 8th grade girls of color in the Inkster area to become precious gems, girls in engineering, mathematics, and science. And whereas gems become innovators in STEM fields, leaders in their communities, and builders of their own futures through exposure to biological and computer science and technology. And whereas STEM girls could cure a disease or build a website or discover a new planet. And whereas she would create her own video game, design a new car seat for her little brother, or create a brand new nail polish of color. And whereas she could make a new recipe for people with allergies or build a better airplane. And whereas a girl, I can do anything with STEM. Now let it be known that the mayor and the council of the city of Inkster, behalf of the residents of the city of Inkster, recognize Camp Inspire on its accomplishments and acknowledges their effort in being a positive image for the girls in the city of Inkster.
All right, thank you.
mayor lives in District 4, so I had to get a picture.
Okay, public hearing.
A public hearing for hotel licensing of rooming houses and motels. This is necessary to protect the health, safety, commercial, and general welfare of the residents of the city of Inkster.
Do we have a motion?
Mr. Chair, I make a motion to open the public hearing.
Support. Been properly moved and supported. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Okay, who starts this thing?
I do?
Do you?
Oh, no, I have Officer Wall here tonight to answer any questions that may arise from this first reading of the ordinance. So she's here.
I may defer to Attorney Jones, because I don't have a final
Okay. Attorney Jones, tell us what this is.
Watley and code enforcement got together to strengthen some of the clauses in our code enforcement ordinances with regard to the hotel licensing and rooming houses ordinance, and I'll pull it up if you give me a second, page 17, I believe.
Ms. Gardner, next time he does that, arrest him, please. That was cheap.
Oh.
One of the major with regard to the code enforcement violations were to increase the fines and the potential penalties for repeat violators with regard to these ordinances. You may or may not know that in February, the city recently executed a strong enforcement on one of the major offenders that has been in the city of Inkster for a long time in order to bring them up to code with regard to the numerous code enforcement violations. But we've had people, there is an ordinance that you may or may not know that within any given year, you can only stay at these hotels for 30 days in 1 year. People have been living in deplorable conditions and paying extravagant amount of money and just violating a lot of these code enforcement ordinances. So the focus on them was to garner strength in compliance, and we're doing that by exposing a person to more loss of liberty, higher punishment with regard to the amount of times and the fines that they stay for any of these violations. For example, section 11804 says no person shall operate in a rooming house or shall occupy or let another occupy any rooming unit or any rooming house except in compliance with this chapter. And again, we have found that several of the people have been living in these things for over several years. Now you must, in order to actually get a room, you have to have ID. You have to have picture ID. And so that's essentially what the major amendments to these ordinances are, to basically identify the people who stand there and to strengthen the violations, enforcement.
Okay, this is a public hearing, so anybody from the public have a question, want to make a comment regarding the changes to the ordinance? Nothing?
Just to let you know, too, there are other aspects of this ordinance that eliminate some things that have been happening for years, such as short stays. Those are prohibited now.
Like 4 hours, you mean? 2 hours?
I don't know. I wouldn't know. I had to ask somebody what a short stay was. Anyway, so things that have been problems which have arisen from certain aspects of this type of entity have been identified and prohibited in this ordinance.
Okay. Officer Wall?
Speaking specifically to the short stay provision, you can stay as long as you want, or not as long as you want, but as short as time as you want. However, now if you stay for 2 hours, you're going to pay for 24. And a fee schedule is to be provided to the city clerk when applying for their annual business license, so that we know when we do our inspections, you're charging so-and-so 25, but your fee says it's 50, you're violating the short stay, more than likely. That was a major change, and I think that was about it, what Mr. Jones stated. So,
Anybody else have a question or comment? Okay, we have a motion to close the public.
I got a question.
Oh, you have a question?
Yeah, I got a question.
Go ahead.
I'm here in the ordinance, it says no more than 2 people in the room. Now, I understand that Inkster, we're talking about hotels, but a lot of people take their kids to these other hotels and they have hotel parties with a whole bunch of people in the room.
Oh, yeah.
So are we going to be violating somebody's right by not letting them rent the room out for that reason?
Williams. I believe that's the existing ordinance. These were created back in 1968. Which were you referring to?
A, room, lodging, or boarding house.
What page are you on, sir?
Oh, page 3? It says page 3 of that.
Dan,
19.
is that what you're talking about, 19?
I'm sorry. I'm still going green. I don't have paper. Mine says page 3.
I believe that's referring to the single and two-family dwellings in this particular ordinance with regards to the boarding houses. The major changes were for the hotels and motels.
Okay. I noticed in the hotels and motels, it didn't give a number at all. So that's why I was asking that question. Does it apply?
Any other questions? Octavia?
I was just wondering, thinking about the hotels that we have in Inkster.
Come on, it's a public hearing. We need to put you on the record.
Well, good evening, Mayor, Council, and residents. Just thinking about the hotels we have in the city of Inkster and our ordinance. You know, they don't look the best. They don't smell the best. They kind of dim the city a little bit.
You think?
Is there anything that we can do to have these hotel owners to build them up to make them look presentable in the city?
Absolutely.
Ms. Smith, I would invite you to come to the 22nd District Court on Wednesday or the 4th Tuesday of every month. The Code Enforcement Department has increased drastically the amount of citations and violations they're writing with regard to litter, blight. And as I just previously indicated, we were successful last Friday in obtaining a 19-count conviction with regard to one of the biggest offenders in the city, which is going to go a long way into the city getting this particular operator to clean up his act. They've been closed, but the litigation, there is litigation still pending, but they have been convicted of 19 of 22 counts with regard to litter, blight, failure to obtain a certificate of compliance. But going back to my initial responses, if you come on Wednesday or the 4th Tuesday, you'll see the number of business owners that have been cited for violations because of the manner in which they're keeping their business. The 4th Tuesday of every month.
What time is that?
1 o'clock. 1:30, I'm sorry.
Okay. Any other questions, audience, comments? Deacon Rose?
Yes.
Come on up to, come on.
Yes, they had mentioned the new ordinance that they have, the new ordinance that they have. A person can only stay in the rooms at the motel for 30 days.
Right.
So what if they check out and stay out one day and then go back and enter back in?
That would be a violation. And that's not new, actually. The enforcement of it is new. There's some offenders, people have been living in some of these establishments, but that's been on city ordinances since 1968.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I just want to say thank you. It's about time we did something about those, all right? Because they're an eyesore, and we all know that they've ripped off people that they've served.
Any other comments, questions? Okay, we have a ooh,
Is there a new ordinance that's already in place?
oh, so you're not gonna come up back to the mic? You act like you don't know the rules?
Is there a new ordinance that's already in place? Is my question.
Amending the ordinance, the first public reading.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we have a motion to close public hearing?
Make a motion to close public hearing.
Support. Been properly moved and supported. Discussion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. It passes. Next public hearing.
A public hearing on open burn policy ordinance 92.60 for the city of Inkster to address current requirements for the utilization of bonfires, fire pits, etc., not in use when original stipulations were enacted.
Mr. Chair, make a motion to open the public hearing.
Support. Been properly moved and supported. Discussion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Public hearing. Who's taking this one?
Can you have someone explain this?
Yep. Can someone please explain this? All right.
So this ordinance is an ordinance that we did not have anything on the books for. This was basically written new. Prior to finding this language and modifying this language, the only thing that we had addressing burning at all was that you could not open burn. And that's basically about it. It was a safety hazard. We know everybody has fire pits. You like to have your fall marshmallow roasts and everything, so we thought this language was important so that we'd have enforcement ability. And basically the ordinance defines what a fire pit is, a permanent fire pit, a portable fire pit, the requirements and restrictions for having those fire pits, where they can be located, what needs to be provided if you have a fire, if you produce a fire, the creation of a nuisance, what defines the nuisance, and the penalty for the nuisance.
Any questions for Officer Wall?
I just want to say this. I hope that she's writing this because right over there on Beach and they are actually burning, and I mean they are destroying the neighborhood. I don't know what they are. They got big bulldozers go back up in there and they burning, and all that stuff is going in people's houses over there. People can even sit outside.
You want to come to the mic?
You know what I'm saying? Right there on the Harrison and Beach. Come where?
To the microphone.
And what's been happening is, and see, I have had children down on the end because all of it do is float right on down there with the children that we've had children with headaches and various things like that we had to, most of the activities I had to go inside, cut the air conditioning on because what is actually happening, that is, it's spreading all over the neighborhood. And people, they should have been up here complaining. Numerous people should be complaining because it had really shut down the neighborhood on that side.
Did you call Officer Wall?
Yeah, they know. They know. They know. The mayor pro tem knows. The mayor knows. Everybody sitting at the table knows where they're burning at. So let's just tell it like it is, and let's get something done about it. Yeah, you know, because your phone been ringing. Come on.
Thank you for your comment. Anybody else? Fire pits? Okay, we have a motion to close?
So move. Support.
Been properly moved, supported. Discussion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Ooh, y'all want to do that again? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Consent agreement. I'm sorry. Consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor, make a motion that we pass the consent agenda.
Been properly moved and supported. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Boards and commissions.
Here, I'd like to appoint Tony Bailey, reappoint her back to the Commission on Aging.
Okay. Do we have a second? Support. Okay, it's properly moved and supported. Discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Got any motions on the condemnation board?
Can we, through the mayor, can we put out something in this meeting that we're looking for an engineer?
Sure.
There may be somebody out there just waiting to help us out.
One of the requirements for the condemnation board, which will serve as 2 boards in our city. David, what's it's serving as the other board? What's the other board? Okay. We need an engineer, any type of engineer to sit on this board, because we're looking at whether residential houses or commercial properties are structurally sound, whether they should be torn down versus renovated. So we need someone with some specific expertise. We already have a building official on it and a contractor, but we need one engineer. So if anyone knows anybody who'd be willing to serve, we would certainly appreciate you nominating them.
Jim Wright needs to be nominated, so you don't have him. Jim, all these people need to be nominated.
Yeah, we need a motion on Jim Wright, who's our building official.
He has to be.
A motion to appoint?
Okay.
Support.
Properly moved, supported. Discussion on Jim Wright, our building official, to be appointed to the board?
We also need an architect or an engineer.
Yes, architect or engineer, yeah. So any discussion on that? It's been properly moved and supported. Jim Wright? Okay, go ahead.
Are we eliminating the residential requirements because?
You can, under state law, you can have one person who does not live in the city on a board or commission. Because it's if it needs specific expertise. Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion passes.
So you received for Stephanie Bradshaw.
We received some other resumes, Guy Borges, Stephanie Bradshaw, Deborah Owens, Dorsey Williams, who's the contractor. So we have any motions on any of those folks? Don't be scared. Come on.
I'll appoint Deborah Owens.
Okay. All right. It's been properly moved. Any support?
Support.
Okay, properly moved and supported. Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Get another motion? Councilwoman Long?
I can nominate Dorsey Williams.
Sure.
Dorsey Williams on the condemnation.
Okay. It's been moved.
Support.
Supported. Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Okay. We got one person so far. So we need one more resident layperson, and we have 2 people who we've received their information.
Layperson?
Yeah, we have Stephanie Bradshaw and Guy Borges who both submitted their information. Do we have a motion on either one of them?
We have another one on Roosevelt Stubbs as well.
Oh, yeah. Forgot about Roosevelt. So we have 3 folks and we have one more spot. So do we have a motion?
I make a motion that we nominate Guy Borges. He was originally one of the first to ask, and I think he has some expertise in this area.
Okay. Everybody know who Guy Borges is? You received this information? We acknowledged him a few meetings ago.
Right. He was given an award.
He was given an award here?
Right.
Right.
You remember? Okay. And do we have any support for that motion?
Support.
It's been properly moved and supported. Discussion. And given we can only have one of these 3, is there any discussion that we have on this? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. So is that it for that? Okay, so that's it for the condemnation boards. Any other nominations?
I'd like to nominate Ed Sanders to the Parks and Recreation Commission.
Okay. Do we have a support?
Support.
Okay, discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Any other nominations? Okay, now we do need we have some availability on the Parks and Recs, so please come to next meeting with some nominations, or before next meeting, get us their information. We talked about that a little bit earlier, so we definitely need some good folks. Okay, we'll move on to first reading. We just did?
A first reading for hotel licensing of rooming houses and motels. This is necessary to protect the health, safety, commercial, and general welfare of the residents of the city of Inkster. A first reading of an open burn policy, ordinance 92.60 for the city of Inkster to address current requirements for the utilization of bonfires, fire pits, etc., not in use with original stipulations were enacted.
Okay, on the new business.
Our new item A, consideration of a special event for the Robichaud Alumni Annual Picnic, a 3-year permit. The picnic will be on September 2nd, 2017, from 9 o'clock a.m. until 10 o'clock p.m. In, I'm sorry, in Wheatley Park.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
So move.
Support. Been properly moved and supported. Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Our new item B is consideration and approval authorizing the city to enter into a development agreement with Platinum Real Estate Holdings, LLC, to participate in the Inkster Neighborhood Stabilization Program.
Do I hear a motion? Going once. We got a motion?
So move.
Okay, support? Can't wait to hear this discussion.
Support.
I've been properly moved and supported. Discussion, because I see some hesitation there. Anybody have any discussion?
I do. How many companies have we already?
6. But this particular company basically is taking all the houses the other 6 didn't want. So this really helps us. This is a positive thing. They're going to take them, rehab them, and make our neighborhoods look better. Any other questions? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Our new item C, consideration and approval of an offer to purchase 4160 Isabel, which is located on the west side of Isabel between Pine Street, as duly noted, in the amount of $4,500 to Alto Baker.
Do I hear a motion?
So move.
Support. Been properly moved and supported. Discussion? All those in favor say aye. Oh, sorry.
Wasn't there some discussion and orientation about asking for more for this property because it's been on the tax rolls since 2012?
Been off the tax rolls.
And, yeah, okay, yeah, awful. and a lot more is owed,
Well, not that it's old. We've owned it since 2012.
and no taxes have been paid.
No taxes have been paid since
But this
2012.
property has been occupied during
Yes.
that time period.
It has.
So if we were to say we wanted a little more,
There'll be a counteroffer.
okay, and how do we go about making counteroffers?
Well, if you vote no on this offer,
Oh.
we could certainly then
That's all we
propose a
have to
counteroffer.
do?
Yeah, well, that'll kill this offer.
Okay.
And then if you want a specific number, well, I guess we'd have to, somebody has to file make a motion and we say, hey, we
Because
want.
you were saying something like $7,500
Don't
would
get
be
me-
what
it
was owed?
This was a rough estimate. Remember what the treasurer said, it's approximately, he estimated at $1,400 a year for taxes, 2012, so that's 5 years. We're not counting 17.
Correct.
So, you just do the math and that comes up with a number but that's not an accurate number, that's an estimate.
I have a question.
Yes.
Because the occupant was allowed to live in that property for so long, and it was city-owned property, city didn't do its job, right?
We didn't evict them. Yeah, we didn't.
Has there been any appraisal on or how much the house is worth or anything of that
We didn't
nature?
appraise it. Yeah. We typically don't do appraisals on these small sales.
Okay.
You know, it's a nice house. Though.
Yeah.
I've seen it. So what is your pleasure? Where are we at? Still in discussion? Okay, y'all ready for the vote?
For the vote.
Okay. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
Nay.
Motion passes.
Our new item D, consider approval of an offer to purchase 1 vacant parcel of land in the RM District, as duly noted, in the amount of $250 to J.R.H. and Sons LLC, Hanif Sabri.
So move.
Support.
Been properly moved and supported. Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Go ahead.
Our new item E, consider approval of a resolution affirming the approval of the Senior Alliance 2018 Annual Implementation Plan for Aging Services.
So move, Mr. Chair.
Been properly moved and supported. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Our new item F, consideration and approval of a street closure of Spring Arbor between Lexington and Wesley for a first birthday party on August 19, 2017, from 2:30 p.m. until 7 o'clock p.m. Isis Welch is the applicant.
So move.
Support.
Been properly moved and supported. You just mad because you didn't get invited to the party. All those,
Can we clarify, it says first birthday party? Is that for a
a
baby?
One-year-old.
a 1-year-old, not a baby.
Those in the street?
On the bed.
Got a lot of friends.
Obviously.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes.
And our item G is, it needs to be tabled. Okay, consideration and approval to authorize signing a professional service agreement with Giffords Webster for a Citizens Reporter Tracker as an additional component to the SAW grant in the amount of $7,975, and it has the duly noted budgeted account number.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we table this.
Support.
Been properly moved and supported to table. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Public participation, the best part. Kellen Smith. Remember, everybody's limited to 3 minutes. And what's the lady at the Apollo? They'll come get you. Yeah, Ms. Gardner will get you after 3, and she has a gun. So keep your comments to 3 minutes.
Good evening, Mayor, Council,
Good evening.
guests in the audience, as well as our viewing audience. I just wanted to come with some information related to Starfish Family Services and let you know that our summer sessions will be ending soon and wrapping up, but our fall sessions will be kicking off very soon as well. Please keep in mind that all of our sessions are free to the community, for our parents, our caregivers, our seniors, anyone who want to participate. Also, our early Head Start and Head Start programs, we're still accepting applications for our little tykes between the ages of 0 to 5. In addition to that, we have our early learning community, which supports a lot of social events for the moms and dads, and there's parent and child play groups. Also, Starfish Finance Center has great programs which are free for credit reporting, budgeting, and also information to help you if you're looking to purchase a home, which, you know, of course, we're always looking to purchase homes and get our families set up with the city of Inkster, and so this falls right in line with what we're trying to do in the community. Also, we always have volunteer opportunities for anyone that want to come out and volunteer in our gardening or special projects, or even in the classrooms reading to the children. And if you want more information, please go to our website, starfishfamilyservices.org. I'm sorry, starfishonline.org. And in addition to that, I just wanted to acknowledge Chief Riley, Officer Lebo, Commander Ratliff, and the Inkster Police Department for coming out this past Saturday and supporting the Inkster Housing Commission with the cleanup in the community. I did get a chance to come out there that morning, and they were in full force and full effect cleaning up in the yards, and we're just really pleased and appreciative that the community is working together on a positive note. Thank you very much.
Hanif Sabri.
Once again, my name is Hanif Sabri, and I'm an officer from District 2 under the leadership of Councilman Oden. The reason that I'm here today also has to do with some concerns that Inkster residents brought to my attention so I want to present that before you. The first one has to do with the education debt, and from my understanding, there's two charges that taxpayers have to pay. One is for the debt itself, and the other has to do with Inkster students attending neighboring schools. Yes. And so the question has to do with transparency, the first part of it. As far as the taxpayers, where can they go? What platform can they use to find out how much they have paid toward that debt, what the balance is, and how much is left or remaining? That's the first concern that the residents have brought to my attention.
We can certainly get that information. Mr. Peterson, can we get that information for our next meeting so we can announce to the public?
I appreciate that,
Okay.
Mayor. And then the second part is still pertaining to the education debt. And the question is, it focuses on the part in which taxpayers have to pay X amount of money for the Inkster students to go to neighboring schools. And then in addition to that, say those same neighboring schools receive money from the government, for example, during count day, and they want to know, how is that not a conflict of interest?
Conflict of interest?
Yes, because they're receiving money, say, from the Inkster taxpayers and also from the government during count day. And so the residents were asking me, and I told them I need to get clarification so I can just report back to them.
I mean, those are all tax dollars. I mean, you can go, the treasurer can explain.
So, you know, their schools are funded through multiple revenue sources. One is the local funding via the property taxes, and because Inkster School District was dissolved, those tax payments that are charged on the property tax bills are redirected to neighboring school districts. I think the other item you're referring to is the state funding that relates to the count day.
Yes.
So it's just separate revenue sources that each school district has. You have the local millage as well as funding support that comes via the state.
And excuse me, as far as Mr. Carrington, just for clarification, can you just repeat as far as how that's broken down? Like, again, I want to make sure I'm clear when I'm talking to the residents in terms of, since the taxpayers are paying that money, like I said, for them to attend the schools.
Sure, and
in
feel
addition
free,
to separate amount.
I can speak with you following the meeting or during regular business hours.
Okay, I
So
appreciate it.
each school district, including school districts that Inkster's residents, the students in Inkster attend,
Yes.
they have a local component that's via the property taxes. That's a tax millage that's, you know, approved, and the amount of the millage is approved by those local residents. That shows up on the tax bill. In addition to that, the state provides a statewide funding source that's based on a certain formula that is also provided to local schools. So that's the other component, and that relates to the count that it's commonly referred to as count day.
Yes.
Where it was depending upon how many students are in a particular district, which determines the amount of state funding that those students will get. So you've got the local component via the millage, and then you have the amount, the monies that come from the state. That's based upon the actual number of students in that particular district. And just again, as it relates to Inkster, even though Inkster School District was dissolved, you still see a local millage on the tax bills for Inkster. There's Inkster residents, homeowners still pay a local school tax that's redirected to neighboring school districts.
I appreciate that feedback. I do want to also just mention, when I had said something about the conflict of interest, I wasn't directing that towards, say, as far as the city hall here in Inkster. I was saying as it pertains to those outside school districts, but I thank you on that. And I know I only have 3 minutes, so my last question just has to do with the number of group homes in the city. And so the question was, what can be done based upon City Hall to reduce just the exorbitant number? Because to be more specific, it was calculated around 85 group homes here in the city. And then when you look at neighboring cities such as Garden City and Livonia combined, Part 1 report is less than 10. And that's, like I said, the numbers don't add up. And these group homes overall they present a safety issue as far as just the quality of life for the residents here in Inkster. And then the last part was, what can be put into place to, say, prevent just the reoccurrence of the inundated number of group homes in the city so they don't continue to overpopulate the city.
That was one of the issues that Councilwoman Wiley and Code Enforcement looked into. How do we tighten that up? Unfortunately, because of state law, group homes, we cannot regulate them as businesses. So essentially, we have to treat them as residential homes, just like your home. So we cannot create more stringent rules than we create for you or me living in our homes, because of course they're right next door to us. And as long as they keep it 6 people or less, they have to play by only the residential zoning rules that we enforce. So we can't do much.
Thank you for your time.
Also, one of the components of this was the fact that group homes are supposed to give these people some sense of normal. And that's why they can't be regulated.
Right.
Because it's supposed to have a... Also, Mr. Peterson had some information that he brought to our, the Voice Forum in regards to taxes.
Do we still have it?
I've got it somewhere. I'm not sure
Let's give
it's
Mrs.
with me
Sabri that
now.
then.
But it was
Mr.
based on the fact that Inkster residents are not required to pay taxes until the debt is paid.
Well, let's look at, well, I know that speaks to the election we got coming up tomorrow, so let's
Right.
talk about that in our final comments.
Okay.
Let's get through this.
All right.
Okay, Octavia Smith. Seems like she's been up like 6 times already. Right.
Okay, good evening again, council, mayor, residents. I just came to make a few announcements for 3 different entities. First of all, Western Wayne Family Health Center will be having our health fair on Wednesday, August the 16th at Western Wayne Family Health Centers on 2700 Hamlin Court. All of you have received information as far as donations and things like that. And we're not asking you for like $1 million, but just a little something to help support the function. So I'm still looking for some information or some feedback from some of you. This year, again, the Chamber of Commerce will be going to the Western Wayne Business Leadership Banquet. And we know that Mayor Nolan already has been given a ticket for that. So we're looking for the council to support the Inkster Chamber of Commerce by coming and attending that as well. That's going to be on Tuesday, October the 3rd, 2017, at the Ford Motor Company Conference and Event Center. The tickets are $100 per person. So we're asking you all, because this is for our city, we want to make sure and let them know that we're around. So please, when you get that information, look at that as well. The Inkster Task Force will be having our 3rd annual Run Walk 5K event on Saturday, October the 28th, and it's going to be held at the Inkster Valley Golf Course this year. So we're trying to ask you to get your running shoes ready, start walking, running, getting yourself prepared so you can support that event as well. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Todd Pauling.
Evening, Mayor and Council. I just want to start out by thanking you guys for coming out on our street, Stolman, and trimming the trees and cutting all the dead trees down, because I know I spoke, I think, 3 weeks ago about it. And you took care of that. And also, you took care of the 3-way stop sign to slow down the speeders down Stolman. And I appreciate that. And the third thing, I'm going to be quick here. The third thing is we had a block party last Saturday, and it was a total success. And I just want to say it brought our block together, where we all, came together and we know each other and that sort of thing. I think that's a positive thing, and that leads to my next question. I asked this before, but I didn't get an answer, and I talked to LaWanda about it, and you too, Stephen. Is how do I form a block club or block? How do I go about getting that?
Our community liaison.
Oh, okay. All right. I'll talk to you then.
But the answer is just do it.
Yeah. Okay.
Get some people together. Good.
Okay. My next thing is, we talked about this, and Connie knows because she's a person that always answers the phone, and it's about my neighbor who is in a wheelchair, which she happens to be here tonight. Okay. And they dug up her driveway for her to fix a water main problem or whatever, and she still has the
rocks or blacktop?
It's not blacktop. They put the rocks and stuff. So, and she has a wheelchair, and it's hard for her to, for her husband to get her in and out of the house. And we see her struggling in it, and that's been since June, I believe.
Yeah, we just spoke about that last week. We are scheduled to get that repaired. Do we have an exact date? Can we give them a time frame?
I can't give them an exact time frame. I'm waiting on the contractor to get back to you with the numbers.
Okay.
So I can write up the PO and get it going.
Okay.
I'm supposed to have the numbers this week.
Okay, if you can, we'll get back, give us 2 or 3 days till we hear back from the contractor, then we can give you an estimate as to when it'll be fixed. But we're on top of it.
Okay. My next thing is, okay, you guys probably not going to like this, but the starting time. The starting time for the council meetings, it says in the agenda 7 o'clock. In the last 3 meetings, the last one I went to, it was 10 minutes to 8, and I left before I can say my piece because you guys were in chambers or whatever. But I believe, this is my belief, if you say 7, it means 7 o'clock, not 7:10, not 7:30, 7 o'clock.
I agree.
Because everybody has lives, we got things to do, and we're rushing down here to get down here at 7 because we believe it's going to start, and then it's not. And if you guys are in chambers, maybe you should have someone come out and say, hey, look, we're still conducting business, or
When we go in chambers, it's closed session. So what we have to consider, it used to start at 7:30, we're like, look, we want to start at 7 so we can get out of here earlier. But an orientation meeting starts at 6. So if we have 8 or 9 things on the agenda, we'll have to discuss those, we do presentations, then we go into closed session and to talk about litigation or employment matters. So sometimes that goes long. But we can consider either starting earlier orientation, 5:30, some people have jobs. Well, it's hard for them to get here at 5:30. Or we can push the start time possibly back to 7:30 like it used to be. So I've noticed that too. We've been starting late almost every meeting. And like you say, when people expect to start at 7, you want to start at 7.
Correct.
I want to get out of here before Monday Night Football in the fall. So,
There you go.
That's why we moved it up. But we're gonna look into it. We'll discuss at the next orientation meeting how we can make an adjustment for it to start on time.
Okay. Now, my last thing is,
You said that was your last.
this is definitely my last thing. We have a loose dog on our block.
Okay.
And I'm assuming this, I know last year the police came out and tried to catch this dog. There was like 5 of them, and they tried to tase, they couldn't catch it. Well, anyway, this dog is running around in the neighborhood, and it's loose, and I have the address, and
Tell Lebo you got to talk to her anyway.
Oh,
she can
okay.
catch the dog. She's fast.
Okay, because we're all sick of it going and, crapping on people's yards and stuff. And I believe they've been fined already, but
Really?
yeah, I think they've been fined already.
Okay. We'll definitely talk to Officer Lebo.
Okay. And that's it.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate you. Officer Lebo.
All right. Good evening, Mayor, Council, residents. Officer Lebo. Yeah. So anyone actually interested in starting a block club, a neighborhood watch group, anything of that nature, please see me. I can be reached at alebo@cityofinkster.com, or my cell phone number is 313-400-5387. We've actually started quite a number of block clubs since I've gotten this position, and they are pretty successful. So anyone interested, please reach out. On another note, I'm sure it seems a bit redundant because I keep going over the same events, but they're so successful that we keep having them. Last week we watched Princess and the Frog for the movie night at the police department. So cute. It was such a great event. Detroit Scoops came out, passed out free ice cream, had a lot of awesome people. We had some fun games. You should have saw these kids running around with these homemade crowns on. It was so cute. So this August movie night, which we're going to continue the movie nights until it's too cold, it's going to be Thursday, August 24th at 8:30 p.m. We're going to be watching The Boss Baby. And same as last time, we'll have snow cone, free popcorn, free snow cones. Detroit Scoops has agreed to come out again. Although I will say that the last movie, it got really cold. So please bring a blanket, bring sweaters. It got pretty chilly, even though the day was so warm. You can never really guarantee what the weather's going to be, so please bundle up just in case. Once again, August 24th, 8:30. We hope to see you there. Also, the bake sale is this Wednesday, at 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., the police department lobby. Any proceeds from that are going to support youth programming and our backpack drive. Thank you. Hope to see you soon.
Thank you. Tyrone Clemens.
Thanks for your time, Mayor, council people. This is my first time here, but I believe Paul Carr, representing RAP, was here at a few meetings ago. One of the things that he had brought to my attention, he wanted me to present on his behalf was talking about the time in which we can apply to do the murals for the Cultural Arts District. For the Cultural Arts District, working with the Downtown Development Authority. He mentioned to me that you wanted to see the actual presentation of the work. He also mentioned that he wanted to work with you to be able to expedite the process of getting the murals up so that we can simultaneously have events and public space activation planning around those murals being developed in the first phase. So if you don't mind, I was just going to link this up to the projector if I have like 30 seconds and show you.
That's ours.
Just a quick demo. It's yours.
yours?
It's yours, but I have the plug for it.
He said we needed a certain computer in order to show the presentation. You got it? Okay. How long is it?
It's like 20, 30 seconds.
Oh, yeah, sure. Plenty of time.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't.
Oh, you know that's right.
I need to get that.
That's it? You see it?
Someone could get the light from me.
Oh, so it is.
Huh? Oh, yeah, I'll take that. It's turning on right now. Takes a second to warm up. It's right there. Perfect. Okay, so this is just a demo of, or a rough sketch of what we could envision the Cultural Arts District becoming. So I don't know if anyone's aware of the space, but it's on Michigan and Inkster. And right here, this grassy area is where there's a lot of concrete from an old parking lot. That's a later phase, but the initial phase and the thing that we need approval for is being able to get multiple murals done at the same time instead of one at a time. It'll allow us to get the resources for artists and funding and able to expedite the process so that we can do more holistic programming and get more interest within the area for Inkster. So, excuse me. So this is just a sample of some of the murals we want put up, or just rough ideas of what we would think it would look like. Being able to put them all up at once or in the same time frame, it builds more of an experience for people and more attention to the space to be used for other things like concerts, festivals, or like farmers markets. The rest of this design was just an idea of the other phases, tents for farmers markets, benches for people to sit in, but that would be a much later phase. And then ultimately, depending on the interest and the funding we develop, we can actually get more public structures built, like this podium over here for live performances.
Okay.
And yeah. So that is it.
Okay. I know at the last Planning Commission meeting, we approved 2 murals to be painted in the TCD. And we're also working on a mural ordinance, which we have a rough draft already done. Hasn't come before council yet. So it gives us an outline of procedures, how you can submit ideas for murals. We approve them, and then we can get them done. So hopefully it won't be too much of a delay anymore, because we're shortening the process.
Okay. Yeah, his whole argument was just so that if we can get them even in like batches, like a 5 or 10, then it won't be as piecemeal, and then we can do programming or work with other groups in the city to have like events for the public to be able to enjoy the space, especially when the murals are going up, and we invite artists in from the area or from the Detroit area to work on it.
Okay. Well, you got a question for this guy?
Yes. What is the ideal spot that you're trying to get on this place?
This is over by Michigan Inkster. You know that area where the old stadium is in the old police station, I think it is?
Yeah.
Yeah, that area. So that's the area we are hoping to work in.
Okay.
Part of that, you're the mayor. Part of that ordinance is that these murals or whatever are not street facing.
No, and none of these are. These
are side buildings.
Yeah. That all.
Okay.
I didn't give it a lot of context, but all that was buildings facing inward, not outward to the street.
Right.
So that's why it's in that area with the parking area, the old gym, and then the old police station.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
No problem. Gina Wilson Stewart.
Good evening, Mayor and Council, residents of Inkster. I bring you, Gina Wilson Stewart, I bring you greetings from the Western Wayne NACP. Every quarter, we have an off-site meeting, and our off-site meeting is this upcoming Monday. I don't want you guys going to Garden City, to Christian Faith Ministry for the meeting, because we will not be there. Our meeting this upcoming Monday is August 14th at Romulus Recreation Center. The address is 35765 North Line. That's like right off 94. Make a laugh. You guys been there before, I hope. And the meeting is from 7 to 8:30-ish. We have a couple of things we're going to discuss, but the main thing we're going to discuss is the importance of court watching. We've been attending a lot of the courts in our 23 cities, and we've noticed a lot of different things going on, and we want to get ahead of it to make sure that everything is fair and above board. So we're going to have State Representative Rosemary Robinson from Detroit. She's going to come out and train us on that. So if anybody's interested in giving up maybe an hour of their time a week to just go sit in a different court and observe what's going on and then report back to us so that we can make a big difference. It's just interesting that in some of the cities that we represent maybe 10% of the population, but it's 95% of the people in the courtroom are African Americans, and we are definitely trying to make sure that if they're there on a legitimate reason. So we just need help in that area. So membership to the NAACP is priceless, and we want everybody to just get involved with it. The other project we're working on is our literacy effort, and we're collecting books to still donate to the barbershops and the beauty shops so that the kids will just think as reading as just part of life and not saying that it's something bad to do. So if you have any books, please bring them with you to our meeting on August 14th. And the last thing is that we have been doing great things since I became president in January. Don't want to toot my horn too much, but we have actually increased our membership by almost 50% from January through July 31st. We attended the national convention, which was 5 of us there. Representative Jewel Jones was there as well, and he was on a criminal justice panel, and he did an awesome job representing us, but he did an awesome job just representing himself with all those top-notch people that was on the panel. So we bought all the DVDs from all the sessions, so we will be allowing people to check them out so you can act like you were actually there. So please feel free to come to the meeting. And if you have any questions, by all means, just give me a call, 313-949-3133. That's it.
Thank you. Kindle.
Good evening.
Good evening.
DDA meeting will resume next Tuesday in this chamber at 6 o'clock. We encourage the public to come and see what we're doing and what we're talking about. Wayne County Community College District. We are still registering students. For those residents who may be interested in coming to fall semester for cybersecurity, craft brewing, mental health or addiction studies, renewable technology, you can always see me directly or come to one of our campuses. If you're a senior citizen, or 60 and above, you can attend Wayne County for free. Please let your residents know that. If you're 60 or older, you can attend Wayne County Community College for free. Wayne County Community College is also seeking additional 20, at least our downtown campus, 25 students who want to be part of our TRIO program now. For those who don't know what TRIO is, that's a federally funded program for student support services to help people prepare for a 4-year institution. We give support, tutoring, things of that nature. You have to, in order to qualify, you have to be a low-income student or first in your family to go to any higher educational institution in your family. We encourage Inkster residents to support the community college as we move towards the 21st century. Thank you.
Thank you. William Miller.
Good evening, Council, Mayor.
Good evening.
Administration, family, friends. A couple of things we got a chance to hear today. I want to ask a couple of questions on. Since the gentleman is still here, he spoke about jobs for some of the cannabis development that's going to be going on in the city. And if I could ask you, as far as what's the critical mass for building jobs with cannabis? Like, how much needs to be done in the community to get 20 jobs, 30 jobs? The other gentleman was here, the scientist, and as far as maybe training technicians for some of the work, so we can do some stuff here. Is that something that you can answer for me real quick?
Yeah, absolutely. The great thing about cannabis is it's a process-driven plant, so there's not a lot of technical skill already out there when it comes to the scale that is going to be needed to support medical cannabis, and so it's going to be something to scale up very quick, and the jobs are going to be for people that are looking to expand their career and have a career, maybe not so much having the cannabis background, but really driven to look and understand from a critical mass standpoint on how they can build a career around cannabis rather than not.
All right, that was too vague. Let me ask you. Let me say it this way. If there's one grow facility and one dispensary, roughly how many jobs is that?
So at a dispensary, you'll probably have anywhere between 15 to 25 jobs, ranging from a retail associate up to a general manager role. And then in a cultivation facility, manufacturing facility, that could have anywhere between 30 to 50 jobs.
Okay, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Thank you. A couple other things. We were talking about there's a seventh company's been added for the first right of refusal program for the city to do development work. At this point, I'm curious, and I know Platinum. Platinum's out of Livonia. So how many companies from Inkster are doing the development deals with the community? And if there aren't many, the next year, is there going to be some outreach done, or are we going to do something that makes sure that people in the city, community-based businesses, are going to have an opportunity to do some development work in the town?
Well, there's 0 companies based in Inkster. There's one company who the guy grew up in Inkster. His mother still lives there, and you know him.
Yeah.
But the other companies, none of the companies are based in the city of Inkster. Outreach, other than we posted it, we thought that your company was going to apply, but you didn't.
I didn't.
We only had 6 companies apply, and we engaged all 6 of them because we wanted to give everybody a chance. And if companies from Inkster apply and they meet the requirements, they'll certainly get a chance. They'll get the first look.
Okay.
So we're open 100% to supporting our own, but we have to apply, to get in the game. Even if you don't quite make all the requirements, apply anyway, because maybe we can scale it down and be able to allocate a smaller number based on what you can do. Because we just want to make sure people have the capacity to get it done. That's all, because it affects the whole community.
Okay. And let's see, what else do I have? That's it.
That's it?
I appreciate it.
All right, thank you. Madam Clerk.
Yes, I would just like to re-announce to residents again that there will be an election tomorrow for the Romulus School District, District 1, Precinct 1, which affects 1,700 voters in the city of Inkster. I would also like to reiterate that this election will not be paid for by the city. We will be reimbursing Romulus School District for any cost incurred. I would also like to announce that State Representative of the 11th District, Joelle Jones, invites you to a job seeker and business services town hall meeting on August 29, 2017 from 6 to 7:30 p.m. at the Booker Dozier Recreation Complex. Thank you.
Mr. City Treasurer.
First item is the tree trimming and repair program is continuing on. And if anyone has any concerns or needs to report an issue regarding tree trimming or removal, can give us a call at area code 313-563-9774. And lastly, we're continuing with the collection of the summer property taxes. There are current, you won't incur any additional fees or interest through the end of August. So there's still a few more weeks for payment of those summer property taxes. Any questions on tax bills, you can look it up online on the city's website or give us a call at City Hall.
All right, thank you. Councilwoman Mitchell.
Good evening, everyone. First to announce, the Inkster Task Force is having a backpack giveaway on August 19th at the Inkster Recreation Complex, which we are now calling the Dozier. And the time will be from 12 until 2, I believe it is. And those families that would like to receive backpacks with school supplies in them for their children for the upcoming school year are welcome to attend. And there will be some other information shared with you as you go through the process of receiving those backpacks. So we hope to see a number of Inkster residents and their children out to get the backpacks. The second thing is I've been receiving a lot of complaints from my constituents about yard waste pickup. Seems as though they're hitting and missing. So I don't know who's in charge of their contract, but I would appreciate it if you would touch base with them. One of my constituents said that his yard waste sat out for 3 weeks straight. So somewhere between those weeks, the yard waste should have been picked up, but it wasn't. So I'm even noticing it on my block too, when there's yard waste out, people are sitting out for 2 and 3 weeks because they're just waiting. We know it's bi-weekly, but it's just not happening. I've seen the truck go down my street and just stroll down the street. They didn't pick up anything. So I don't know what's going on, but would you please touch base with them and let them know that people are complaining? One of my constituents who does have physical limitations said that they told her waist was overweight, but she's not capable of picking up anything heavy, and she does her work herself. So hers could not have been overweight. So there's really something going on that I would like for us to check into. Oh, you? Sure. Oh, yeah. Be more than happy to. And you know, at the last council meeting, there was a lady who complained about her yard waste, right? So it's continuing. So I'll send you an email, your favorite councilwoman.
They also tell you to take a refer to your calendar.
Yes.
Yes. And she did mention, she said, I'm looking at my calendar, and the gentleman who called said, I'm looking at the calendar, so it's not happening on the day it's supposed to happen.
And then they tell you to talk to Mr. Billings.
Let me explain something to you guys so you can understand. Republic Waste moved their call center from Lansing, Michigan to Indiana. So it handles this region. So when you talk to them, just call me. Because they have it. They're
not getting people local anymore.
Right, they're in Indiana. So they are familiar with Michigan, but not that familiar because they hired new people. So if you have an issue, just direct yourself, calls to 313-563-9774, and we'll gladly assist you with the compost. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Councilman Oden.
Yeah, Mayor, thank you. I'd just like to say that I was out with Nan. We were out complaining, doing picketing at the bank. That folks know that we was trying to keep Chase right here in Inkster, but of course it didn't work. But we were out making ourselves known and letting them know that we had a concern with that. I have got complaints from my constituents concerning rats and so forth. People in more than one situation. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's going on, but there was a couple people on Emerson called me about it and have a concern with it. So I guess that's something we're going to have to try to deal with, try to find out what the issue is there. I've noticed throughout the city in different locations that people are sort of dumping in the way of speaking. They're setting trash out in different locations between the sidewalk and curb, furniture, etc. And for some reason, I think it might be people who might be coming in from other communities and doing it because we did have that to happen once before. I wanted to put that out there. They also are dealing with it within the community. They were, what I've been finding, they've been dealing with it on the outskirts and not putting it out in, in right inside the, the city. Myself and Ms. Mitchell talked last week. We was trying to find out what is the date, what is the month that we're going to have where all the district committees come in and sit down and talk together. We have three different locations, and we have one big meeting and so forth. I'd like to know, I think you mentioned, was it October?
Mm-hmm. I think we agreed on October.
Okay, so that's still in place. Okay. Oh, between Cherry Hill and Michigan Avenue, I've noticed, and I'm assuming that you may have had something to do with this, Mr. Bivens, but I've noticed that they have cut the grass on both sides of the street. I'm assuming that's the county.
Oh, okay.
But I've noticed that that's been taken care of on a pretty regular basis.
On what street now?
I'm sorry. Along Middle Belt.
Okay.
Between Michigan Avenue and Cherry Hill. So I just wanted to get that out there. I appreciate that. It looks so much better coming down through there.
Okay. All right.
That's all I have.
Thank you. Councilwoman Watley.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to thank Mr. Peterson, Preston Peterson, and the Office of Jewel Jones for the immeasurable information they gave us regarding the tax situation over in the Inkster School District.
Yeah, District
Yes.
1.
So I just wanted to issue that and let them know that they were asked and they found definitive information regarding who was responsible for those taxes. And Mayor Pro Tem Williams and some other council people, we canvassed the area that was affected by this situation, left flyers on the doors and things of that nature, but very few people responded. So just want you to know that they are working hard to make sure that things, that information flows into the community, and I just wanted to thank them.
Thank you.
Can I interrupt?
Nope. No. She's finished, so you can't interrupt her. Yeah. Are you trying to say something?
Come on, say something.
This is actually addressed to the trade. I sent Mr. Sabri a copy of the formulation for school aid.
Okay.
Presentation online. Anyone who's interested out.
Okay. Could you send it to the treasurer too, so we can have it and put it on the website? Thank you, Mr. Pearson. Councilwoman Howard. Councilman Chisholm.
Good evening. As you guys know, I wear multiple hats, and one of the questions that I got addressed in the field while I was working at AT&T was about our public access channel through UVerse. It being down. It's broadcasting on Comcast, but not with AT&T. I did speak with Troy Seaton, who's our media guy, if you will, and the part was still on back order. I've sent out a correspondence to the IT services guy, Brent Perry. Now I'm waiting on a response from him to find out what the issue is and how we can push it along, because clearly it's not a local part. And I don't know if it's coming from AT&T or who, but I just wanted to alert everyone that I am still investigating that. And the biking. I've been asked by multiple people, councilpersons and citizens in the city about what's going on with the biking. Did send out the waiver form to the city attorney. I got the approval on that. We're going to change the name. It was going to be Cycling with Councilman Chisholm, but this is a community effort and a joint effort, so we're going to change the name. It's going to be something community-oriented, and that's just that. And we're working on the rules and everything right now. So, because we don't want anyone to get out here and just start riding and wasn't aware of what guidelines they need to follow when they're with us. Especially, like I said, yeah, your kids can come, but you got to stay with your kids. You're not dropping them off, and we out there riding all day. Another special thanks I want to give out to the police department. We had some kids that decided to crack a window at the church, and when everybody left, they climbed back in and hid. And the motion detectors went off. And so I get to the church is completely secure, and I was just confused. The next day, I was sitting over a housing commission meeting when I got a phone call. The alarm went off again. Or no, it didn't go off again, but they had caught them. They were hiding this time under the choir pews. And so we called the police department because we needed to handle this appropriately. Their parents came over, and the police really did their job. And I was just amazed by how they handled it. I had no idea of how to handle the situation, how to go about doing so. So with that, I just want to give a special thanks to the chief and everybody at Inkster Police Department, just the way that they engage with the community, the youth, adults, and all the surrounding communities. And my last thing is just piggybacking on with Councilwoman Mitchell, the same thing in my neighborhood about the yard waste. I had sent an email to Jerome, and he referred me back to the calendar as well, because after a certain date, it went to being bi-weekly pickups. I monitored it, and one day my yard waste got left behind. And that's not supposed to happen. And my brother, he disposed of it, but then the neighbors got left behind. I drove all around the neighborhood writing down different addresses and stuff, and I said, okay, well, we'll wait and see. And I actually called Republic myself, because I am a citizen as well, and she typed our area zip code in or whatever, and said pretty much the same thing that the calendar said. So I said, okay, I'm not home during the day, so I can't run and stop the man, because I will, and ask him why didn't you pick up the yard waste. But I just want to let everybody know in my district that I am aware of the situation as well. And that's all I have.
Okay, great. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you. The administration, we have a stop sign down on the east side of Middlebelt on Pine Street, right before you get to the old Woodson School. I guess somebody ran the sign over. I mentioned before that a lot of people are running the stop sign over there. So if we can get a patrol car at some time to catch those people running the stop sign, maybe we can collect some more revenue. Also, yeah, I'm always about money. Yeah. Also, there are certain places in the city you can ride down the street, and there's trees that's on the city side of the sidewalk that hang over to the other side of the street. Are we going to have tree trimming to trim some of the trees back? Also, you can go down the street, and there are some, I don't know if to call them trees or brush, but they cover the sidewalk, and they're coming into the street. Not in my district, but it's coming into the street, and I noticed that it can be sometimes a hazard when you go down the street and you come into a stop sign. You can't see the stop sign unless you right up on it. I'll give you that information because I'm back to the city quite a bit, and I see these things. I got it wrote down, I'll give that to you. Also, I want... Beach and Ash? Oh, okay. That's one of them. The one other thing I saw was actually on Carlisle. Over on...
It sounded like this. We're going to talk about that later.
Okay. And I want to thank the police department for coming over and Parkside and housing and helping the neighborhood over there. You know, they're what I would call community policing, and I want to thank you a lot for that. And last but not least, please continue supporting your local merchants by shopping in Inkster. Thank you.
Yeah, we knew it was coming. All right, I know we getting slap happy in here, so we're going to get out of here. I just want to say that we recently caught a dumper with our super secret cameras. So we forced them to come back, clean up what they dumped, and then they also got a little trouble, a little citation. And so finally, the cameras paid off that we've installed at various places. Of course, we're not going to say where, because it's a secret. Also, last week, myself, the treasurer, Councilman Chisholm, met with Chase Bank. Be honest, it was a bit of a dog and pony show, but they did have 4 people from 4 different departments come, 2 from out of state, 2 from here in Michigan, and we went around in circles. It was made clear by some of us, or some of them, that we felt a little disrespected by them making that type of decision, without at least coming to the community and saying something.
Right.
Holding a forum, explaining why they were doing it. We kind of said, look, you guys basically said, act like we didn't care. You didn't care about our business, and what can you do for this community as a result of, since you're leaving us? So we discussed some things. There are some opportunities for some nonprofits, for some sponsorship, to at least support some of the things we do annually in this community. So we're going to try to take advantage of that. They've also some other services regarding home mortgage programs and all the stuff that banks do. So hopefully we'll tap into some of that, at least get them to invest in us like they've invested in other communities like Detroit. I think they invested millions and millions of dollars. So, we expressed to them that we're ready for that type of investment, and we're going to keep in contact and push that forward to at least make them make a decision as we request things. So we will definitely let our nonprofit stakeholders know what opportunities are out there, and we're going to keep in constant contact with them. And Councilman Chisholm represented us very well, because he was the bad cop, so he definitely expressed the protest, why they were doing what, and they listened. They're like, oh well, but they listened.
Yeah.
And they said, yeah, we could have done that better, and yeah, we should have did something differently, but too bad, so sad. They did explain to us why. So just basic business reasons. Deposits were down. They had 2 other locations closed. Blah, 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 blah. But that's where they're at. So we asked them possibility about requesting the building. They said they'd look at a proposal if we submitted one. Maybe a nonprofit in the community. I was thinking maybe a business incubator or something that we really need, that they would look at that and consider it. Not guaranteed, but they would consider it. So if anyone has any proposals, please see a council person or myself, and let's put something together, because it can't hurt to ask. It'd be a shame if we don't ask. All right, that's all I have. Thank everybody. I'm happy to see new people coming to council meeting, organizing, getting active in the community. That is great. I'm excited about that. And I will see everybody in 2 weeks.
Make a motion.
To adjourn?
Support.
Probably move supported. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
Tom.
Sorry.
Oh, you are big. I wanted to come by.